So what if I told you Johnson City is both overpriced and underpriced at the same time? Hey, my name's DJ and I'm gonna help you figure out if moving to Johnson City and the surrounding areas is a good move for you. And to answer this question, is Johnson City overpriced? You gotta watch the whole video because at the end, my answer may actually surprise you. So the question is this area overpriced? The real question is, it depends on who you ask. If you ask a local, they'll say, yes, absolutely, this place is skyrocketed in value, it's overpriced. I can't afford a home. I can't afford to move from the place I'm at because the next thing I pay for is going to be even more money than what I already spend now on a mortgage. But if you ask somebody relocating here from an area where it is more expensive, what do you think they're gonna say? No, it's not overpriced at all. And that's what I hear all the time. People like you moving from Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, Illinois, California, they all say the same thing, which is, wow, there's so much value for this area. But what does that value really get into? It's not just the sticks, it's not just the lumber and the electrical outlets and the roof that goes into the home. If that were the case, people would just live wherever they wanted to if it was home specific. The value is really in what you get for the area in which you buy. Because remember, you're buying a home, but you're moving to a community, and that is really where the whole overall picture comes into play. So at the end of this, we're really gonna have to ask ourselves the question, who's right? Is the local who's lived here and seen the prices go from $177 for the average sales price in 2020 to over $325,000 now? Or is it the person relocating here who's selling their home for $900,000 and buying something for 1/3 or half of that price? I'm gonna break down exactly what the cost is relative to the income earned in this area and compare that to the rest of the Southeast United States. So at the end of this video, you're gonna have a really good understanding if Johnson City is overpriced or not, and if it's a good place for you to move to. So why does everyone have a different answer? Well, let's first get into what we're measuring. We're measuring what wages people are making and comparing that to the average sales price. So we're taking the average wage per person and the average sales price. So you can already tell right off the bat, this data is completely vague, really big. But when we compare it to different areas, we keep it that way in general. In the United States, the threshold for what people and economists would say an area is underpriced or overpriced is 3. So basically, whatever someone's wage is, it can't be more than 3 times that in the home price. So if your average wage is $50,000, you should be able to buy a home for $150,000. That would be a ratio of 3. So before I even get into this data, I'm gonna bring up a number, and that is 3.97. That was the ratio, the price to income ratio in Johnson City in May of 2020. So if you're a local watching this and you say, back in 2020, the beginning of the year, the prices were still affordable, it was still over the average. So let's remember that in relation to the rest of the United States, the economy, and everything like that. So I'm gonna give you 5 cities in this area, and I'm gonna give you 5 numbers, and we're gonna play a game. We're gonna figure out which area is which number. I'm first gonna start with the numbers. 6.4, 5.9, 5.3, 4.8, and 4.6. So now let's go to the cities. Nashville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Maryville, Tennessee, and Johnson City, Tennessee. If you guessed that I started with the highest number and worked my way down to the lowest number, you're right. So let's go over these again. The least affordable city in this ranking, at least that I went through, is Nashville, Tennessee, with a price to income ratio of 6.4. Right after that is Knoxville, Tennessee, with a price to income ratio of 5.9. Number 3 on that list is Chattanooga, Tennessee, with a price to income ratio of 5.3. Maryville, Tennessee comes in at number 2 with a price to income ratio of 4.8. And you guessed it, Johnson City, Tennessee comes in first with the most affordable in this ranking of a price to income ratio of 4.6. So is this over the 3 threshold that the economy says is right at the value? Well, yes, but when we look at it compared to the other areas people are looking at when they move to this area, or if you're looking at a job in various different cities, this is the number we need to focus on. How much can I get relative to how much I make? So again, if Johnson City was overpriced, we would expect this ratio to be in the 5s or 6s like Nashville and Knoxville, but it's not. It's actually actually one of the lowest numbers, which makes it one of the most affordable cities in Tennessee. So if you're looking between two different cities, the Knoxville area or the Johnson City area, you're gonna find that home prices in Knoxville are 20 to 25% higher, but income is not directly correlated. It is not 25% higher in the area. So let's compare this to other states in America, and really two of the biggest states that I see people moving from is California and Florida. So what is the price to income ratio in Florida right now? It's 5.4. Now again, this is for a whole state, and in Tennessee we were comparing areas regionally, but we can see it is still a better value here in Johnson City versus the whole state of Florida. In California, I know that's a buzzword here in Tennessee, but what is the price to income ratio in Florida? It is just under 10 at 9.1. So in California, it costs you 9 times your income to buy a house. So again, you're hearing this data and you're thinking, well, all right, this is great. We're talking about two states that you focus on for people that move here, but of course they're moving here for a reason. Well, what is it nationally? Right now in the United States, the price to income ratio is 4.8. So let's rewind back and remember what Johnson City is right now. It's 4.6. So if we're asking ourselves the question, is Johnson City overpriced? Compare it nationally, compare it to other cities. The data is showing us it's not. So is it overpriced if you compare it to all of the South? Well, based on this graph, yes, the South is 4.1. This is a culmination of various different states and areas, and also too, compared to the Midwest, yeah, we are overpriced, but let's compare it to the Northeast and West, and yes, we still are regionally in the South much more affordable for income relative to the cost of a home. So again, we're only talking about what? Your income relative to a home purchase. There may be some people who are retired and they have income and this doesn't matter to them whatsoever. Well, yes, that's also the case in various different areas. This is just a metric we go based on. Why do locals think this place is so overpriced? It's because they're comparing Johnson City to what they remember before, not to other cities and other parts of America. They remember $150,000 home prices, $200,000 home prices, and basically homes selling for half of today's home prices. Yeah, that would create sticker shock for me as well. So one thing we all can understand, the cost of living today relative to 5 years ago, relative to 10 years ago is, yes, absolutely a ton higher. And it's really easy to point at the person relocating here to say, hey, you're driving up these home prices. You're the reason, you're the reason. And I think that only works if Johnson City was the only place that was above 3. But as we went to the graph already, we can again see Johnson City is still more affordable than other parts of Tennessee. Okay, so now let's compare Johnson City to other cities that people are moving from. And again, y'all, I'm not trying to be a scholar. I'm not trying to bring you statistical data analytics. I'm far from that. I'm merely trying to break this down to let you know the information provided to everyone. I found this on the internet just like you can, that this area relative to the rest of the United States is not as overpriced as the locals or some people who remember old pricing may think. So what metrics, in addition to the price to income ratio, would someone moving to this area want to know? We're going to think about things like the median home price, the property tax rate, the state income tax, the cost of living index, and everyone's favorite, the traffic rating, which again, if you ask a local here, this is the worst traffic in the world. I personally have lived in Chattanooga, Murfreesboro, and Nashville. I can tell you this is not bad traffic here locally. So what we did is we took a culmination of 7 different cities and compared them to Johnson City in these categories. The cities were Knoxville, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Asheville, North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Tampa, Florida. So in descending order, let's go with the top 3 places with the most affordable home price. At number 3, Knoxville, Tennessee with $425,000. Number 2, Greenville, South Carolina with $375,000. And the winner of the most affordable median home price is Johnson City with $335,000. So let's talk about taxes. Property tax, which areas had the lowest? Well, the winner is going to be by default Johnson City and Knoxville, Tennessee, because there's no state income tax here and our property taxes are very low relative to the rest of the United States. What places had the most expensive housing? Number 3 on the list was Raleigh with $500,000. Nashville was second with $510,000. I thought that was wild. I think they would be first. And Asheville, North Carolina was the most expensive in the 7 cities that we looked at $525,000. $25,000 for the average sales price. Okay, so let's look at the worst traffic rating. What area is number 3 on that list? That would be the Charlotte and Raleigh, those two areas tied. The second worst area for traffic was Nashville, Tennessee, which again, I live there. This was back in 2016 to 2019. I don't know how the traffic could be worse now, but number 1 on that list was Tampa, Florida, which really makes sense because most of the people I sell to from Florida come from Tampa. Okay, what areas have the lowest cost of living based on the US index? Number 3 is Greenville, South Carolina. Number 2 is Knoxville, Tennessee. And you guessed it, the winner for the lowest cost of living based on this index was Johnson City, Tennessee. So let's talk about the categories we looked at. In the category of the best home price, that would be Johnson City, Tennessee. Lowest overall taxes for state income tax and property tax, that's a tie between Knoxville and Johnson City, Tennessee. Lowest cost of living, the winner right there is Johnson City, Tennessee. The least traffic, and I pray this clip blows up on TikTok because I all the time hear comments about how the traffic has just gotten overwhelming in this area. But the award based on these 7 cities for the least amount of traffic is Johnson City, Tennessee. The most expensive home, we already talked about it though, was Asheville, North Carolina. We talked about the worst traffic, which would be in Tampa, Florida. The best value overall, again, I keep saying it, is Johnson City, Tennessee. And these two may actually be surprising. The best big city economy is going to be Raleigh, North Carolina, and the best urban lifestyle, Nashville, Tennessee. And this one, I think just people win by default here because they're in Florida, but Tampa has the best beach access for any of the cities we looked at. And again, if Nashville, Tennessee won that, I'd really look at my data and kind of question it because I don't know how that place won versus a place in Florida. So again, Johnson City is not cheap compared to what it used to be. It is not the place where you could find a really good home for under $200,000. But it is a place relative to the rest of Tennessee, to the rest of the South, and to the rest of America, you could still find good value. So these numbers are great. I think they're really telling of economies, of income, of prices. But again, the home is only half of the equation. The area and the community are the other half. So if you're a buyer and you're looking to move here, what are you going to get? Well, the answer is very simple. You're going to get gorgeous mountain views. You're going to get access to amazing lakes, Boone Lake, Watauga Lake, South Holston Lake. You're going to get 4 distinct seasons. Now, again, there's a lot of people locally who say this place is just awful when it comes to weather. I think perspective is really going to help that. I grew up in the Northeast. The winters were cold, very, very cold. And the summers were great. They were very mild. But I would trade this area any day for 8 to 12 to 16 inches of snow at one time. You're going to get relatively low property taxes compared to the rest of the United States. You're going to get no state income tax. You're going to get really amazing outdoor recreation. We have a world-class hiking trail around here in the Appalachian Trail. You have numerous different places you can hike. You have gorgeous waterfalls, so many opportunities to make memories outdoors with your family and your loved ones. And all this, and we still have a regional airport. And again, it has its opportunities, but for somewhere to go, park, and be from your car, boarding your plane in 1 hour 15, that's really hard to beat. So what are some of the local things here that people like? The Appalachian Trail is great, well, that's far away. The mountain views are great, but you have to go to somewhere to see them. Well, the first one I want to point out is the Johnson City Doughboys. In the almost 7 years that I've lived here, that place has grown exponentially as far as what they offer, the fun, the community involvement. It truly is a place where people enjoy going and really actually make memories. The other part would be the parks we have around here in Winged Deer, Buffalo Mountain, Willow Springs. I mean, these are public parks where there are amazing opportunities to see views, to play, and just to be outside. Also, the Tweetsie Trail. These are old train tracks they turned into a bike, hiking, walking trail. It's really amazing, it's level, and it's great for you and the family to get out to. Downtown Johnson City and the festivals they offer, we have Taco Trek, which is one of my personal favorites. You could ride your bike and go get tacos at the same time. Y'all, what else is there to compare that to? And one of the best things that people move here for, or are pleasantly surprised when they move here, is how well the Johnson City schools are. And really a point I want to bring up is people aren't moving here because it's the cheapest place they could find. They're moving here because it brings them the most value their dollar can get. So let's be honest though, there are some areas and some specific homes that are overpriced. I've talked about this before, but there will always be sellers and there will be prospectors. So you can do whatever you want to do to tell a prospector, and that is a person who puts their home on the market and sets a price and says, hey, I'm not selling, I'm not going to accept an offer until I get the price I want. And that's fine, that's your asset, you could do whatever you want with it. But what they don't listen to is market value, and a buyer is only willing to pay what they feel the home is worth. And really that's what market value is. When a home exchanges hands between a willing seller and a willing buyer, that's market value. So to hold up a piece of paper and say, well, I bought this house for $200,000 and I put $200,000 into it, now it's worth $400,000. On replacement value, you're correct. Yes, we've added two numbers together, that's how we find the value. But that's not how we price a home. We look at various different things. We look at where the market's going right now, where it's been in the past. Are there any trends pointing to what the future may look like? And that is what makes a buyer want to move on a home. So that's why it's so important to work with someone local who is looking at the market every single day, who knows the numbers, and who just like that can tell you if a home is a good value or not. Because remember, the listing photos you see are the highlight reel. It's just like social media, you only see the good stuff. The person here locally is gonna help you figure out, is it a good area? Are you gonna feel happy there? Are you gonna feel safe? Are you gonna make sure that your kids are in good schools? Are you gonna make sure you don't have to do too many projects? What did the home inspection say? This is all what happens when you're working with someone who specializes in this. So to sum it all up, the market isn't overpriced, really it's some of the homes are. So that being said, where are some of the best values right now here in Johnson City and the surrounding areas? So if you don't want to live specifically in Johnson City, you maybe want to live in Jonesboro, Bluff City, Bluntville, Piney Flats, somewhere in Sullivan County, or maybe somewhere in Washington County. There are neighborhoods around there or areas where there's a lot of homes for sale at one time. And if there's a motivated seller, that's where values come in, because sellers have to move because of the 5 Ds we talk about: death, diamonds, divorce, diapers, and diplomas. One of those 5 things is going on. And because of that, there may be something that makes a value pop up. If you're looking for some sort of new construction in the area, I have seen here recently, builders, both large and small, are way more likely to negotiate with you right now. So either that means the sales price is going to go down, closing costs are going to get paid for, or maybe even a very, very reduced rate depending on the incentive they're offering right now. But again, in Johnson City, there are certain neighborhoods where there's tons of supply, and there's great opportunities for sellers who are motivated to make a deal to help you as the buyer get the best value. But a lot of times these values are going to be based on what the lot is like, what the amenities inside the home are, what school district it's in, and also how far away from where you work it's going to be. So these are things to consider. Again, working with someone locally, they can quickly tell you if this place is a good fit or not for you. So what's my honest answer? So after helping 200 people buy and sell real estate in under 5 years, my answer is simple. Johnson City is not cheap anymore when you compare it to the past. And prices here have increased significantly, but that's also happened everywhere. Looking at the lifestyle Johnson City offers and comparing it to other cities in Tennessee, in the Southeast, and to the United States in general, Johnson City is still a very good value. So just because Johnson City is getting more expensive relative to 5 to 7 years ago doesn't mean it's getting worse. Conversely, it's actually getting better because more people are so excited to move to this area, to bring their families here, or to be closer to families to retire, that they are willing to pay more money than what this area was 5 to 7 years ago. So if you're looking to move to this area, the biggest mistake you can make is looking at home prices without understanding which areas may be a good fit for you. You go to my website and you click the Get in Touch with Us button. You put your information there. We book a consult. We do a Zoom meeting, a phone call, or if you're visiting, we do it in person. And we go over a questionnaire that I've built to figure out what's going to be the best area for you based on your price point, your non-negotiables, your timeline. We put all this together and we figure out what's going to be the best place for you. My team and I are so excited to help answer any questions you have. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, and comment any questions or any comments you have. And make sure you always remember we are putting out new videos every week, and email me if there's any specific questions you want answered. We're here to help you. Y'all, I'm DJ. I'm the owner of the Slivka Property Group right here in Johnson City, Tennessee with Keller Williams Johnson City. I am so excited to assist you.